Pleasant good afternoon. My name is John Castani. I'm part of the First Wave movement. I am a social rights activist, a human activist. And for the past 4 years, we've been working with a number of organizations in bringing a peace between the gang war in Trinidad and Tobago. There are many different urban youth factions that have been picking up arms against one another, and it's usually a result of a lack of opportunity. It's usually a result of a lack of socio-economic opportunity and pathways for the youths to be able to take their talents and do things with it. What we are appealing towards the government for, and over the past years in working with the IATF, the Hearts and Minds Division of the TTPS, we have effectively started farms and done a number of things inside these communities, but yet there is still not enough support. We have tried many times for funding to create different programs and alternatives that can bring about youth development through creative means of music, of art, of also sport and different uses of talent. What we are appealing for is for the government to give us their support and their blessing, as we have on several occasions appealed to the THA, the Trinbagonian government, Ministry of National Youth Development and Service, and every time that we attempt to bring some sort of progress to this country, where we show the work that we have done in bringing forth a peace between a 13-year war, ending a 13-year war between the Rasta and the Muslim factions. And we were able to do that with music. And in so doing, we approach the government, we approach the police, give us the support, let us make a difference, let us create our narrative, and let us chart our way forward for the youth, where they don't have to be killing one another, and where anger and frustration overtakes everything and ignorance is what is at the forefront. So in creating the piece, we were inspired by the story of Nipsey Hussle. We were inspired by the story of Dexter Browne, a very close friend of mine, who is a national coach, but more so is a Pan-Africanist that has shown how the blueprint of Pan-African love and giving a platform and an opportunity for urban youth to be able to harness their talents and their skills and be able to monetize it and create careers out of it, which, to the beauty of it, Nipsey Hussle is now a Global Impact Award winner. And we are very proud to say that a lot of the ideas, the early beginnings, the investments, the love, all the counseling and mentorship that would have gone into this young man and the group of artists from the Rolling 60s neighborhood, it came from a Trinidadian, it came from a Pan-African family, and we have the answers. We here in Trinidad, we have the answers. We've seen Nipsey Hussle bring a peace between the Crips and the Bloods in LA. We follow suit and we've brought a peace between the Rasta and the Muslim in Trinidad and Tobago with the use of music and photography and art to allow creatives to get involved with high-risk youth and allow a certain level of edification and informal communication and productivity that happens when you have the middle-class youth who would love to come and be a part of contributing to the careers of these high-risk youth in these areas. So, in closing, what we would like to do today is to present and to applaud the efforts of our brother in releasing his book, Nipsey Hussle's, him being a mentor to Nipsey Hussle, and him having a book that details the problems in society and the solutions, us being solution-oriented, where that the same companies that are able to mint everything that they do, refine oil and build big houses and do all these billions-dollar things, and have the people living in abject poverty have absolutely no opportunity and not even a fraction to the income of wealth or any kind of opportunity that these said companies benefit and reap from. And so what we're calling on is for the state, for us to recognize the impact of our Pan-African ideals, recognize the ability of our talents, recognize the ability of technology, of NFTs, of creativity, recognize our strong points, And now that we are confident that we can obtain funding, not through government means, all we are asking for now is for the recognition from government and the support of our country and our nation in recognizing the contributions made to a better tomorrow. Solution oriented, we're looking at the urban youth and how we can develop urban youth and how we can bring economics and socio-economic solutions to socio-economic problems. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my brother and my both brothers who have done tremendous work on their publication that they would be unveiling today. Thank you.
Good evening, Brother John.
Good evening. So we have our brother here, Coach Dexter Browne. He's a national coach and he's the author and photographer. So I'll let you take the floor, brother.
Well, good evening to everyone. And thank you, John, for having myself and Rubadiri Victor. It was a collaboration, Spirit of the Carenage Coast. I did the photography and things like that while Rubadiri Victor did all of the text and so forth. But we are particularly excited about this project because unlike most projects, we feel that this project has a different slant on it. It puts the community at the core of our intent. And I think we can all agree that there have been many projects and books and documentaries and things like that have been made essentially about the community, but for some strange reason these communities have not been involved in the business plans that govern these activities. And so we believe that this book is a step in the right direction where we are allowing for the community itself to enjoy shared ownership on a non-fungible token that we're deriving from these books. And so we're hoping that if and when we are successful with our book, that the community would enjoy that same level of success in tandem. And so we are hoping that this is a Kickstarter project that show many other artists and artisans ways that they can descend on their needy communities and use their art, leverage their God-given talents for the benefit of the people in their community. So we're very excited about that. Rubadiri, come on up.
Hi, Dexter.
How are you going?
Respect.
Respect.
Hi, Trinidad Tobago. The person sitting down next to me is being very, very, very humble about his work and the impact of his work and that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's what I like that. Yeah. We're here today on the anniversary of the death of Nipsey Hussle, who is one of the kind of patron saints of the modern golden age of African American culture, and someone who's had a lot of impact across the planet, because not just because of his hip hop verse, but because of his ideology of regentrification of the neighborhood, of reinvestment into the neighborhood, of the the middleman concept, getting rid of those people who profiteer on the community by exploiting the resources of the community, or that bridge between the community and resources for their own benefit and at the expense of the community, and a number of other things in terms of re-empowering of the community through the ownership of the intellectual property created on the ground of the community. all of these things that Nipsey has become known for, he learned from Dexter Browne through a 7-year period of mentorship that himself and a number of the boys from that area experienced. And it is the fruition of that ideology that Dexter enforced on those boys that was realized in the career of Nipsey, the short career of Nipsey before he was unfortunately murdered, and that has had that impact across the planet. That's the thing that has made his icon so magical and contagious to so many people, is that. And that thing came from the Pan-African ideas that Dexter matriculated in at Howard University and back home here in Trinidad and Tobago, and his wife as well, American wife as well. So we are celebrating the fact that change is possible and that intervention is possible in communities where boys at risk can be flipped into, we say, dog to God, right? We say the transformation, that magical transformation of dogs to God, you know, the transformation of the boys into men, that phenomenal thing that happens when African drum music and the music culture is released, and that revolutionary thing that happens in African music, whether it be hip-hop, soca, dancehall, Afrobeat, high life, samba, reggae, you name it, rock and roll. All the black forms of music, which are not just forms of music, as my elder Tony always used to say, but ways of seeing that have changed the world. We believe that in the unleashing of that music force, the revolutionary thing of the music force, and Zest is part of that, that they have the revolutionary potential in them to transform the community and transform the boys for the better. Apart from that, Dexter's intervention is also about digital defiance, digital democracy, the idea that digital media presents a new plateau and platform of the calibration of the lives of black and brown lives and working class lives, that their lives, the value of those lives captured in digital media, that real estate may be more valuable than the real estate that they live on, and that the exploitation of that real estate and the ownership of that real estate by those people can actually be their salvation and redemption, that is a billion-dollar industry waiting to happen. And soca and reggae and dancehall and all this have showed us the pathways, the steel band movement and those kinds of things. But we have not taken those things seriously in this country. We want that key to be flipped in that lock and for that door to be fully open. And so we joined with John and Johnny Bravo and all of those who have worked hard on the streets to bring peace. The next step for the peace now is development and transformation of the boys, dogs to God. You know, I mean, so our small part in this, on this day of the anniversary of the death of Dexter's mentee, Nipsey, we are launching 4 books over the next 6 months. Those 4 books begin with a tour to both of our hometown, Carenage. It's called The Spirit of Carenage Coast. And it looks at it, so nothing that we do is separate from the next thing. You know, we ain't doing a book about flighty thing and nice coast and fish and like this. Of course, it deals with the beauty and the history of the coast, but it's also dealing with the inequalities, the inequities that are there, and the forces of globalization, gentrification, industrialization that are transforming a fishing community and a working class community into something else, destroying historic and ancient fishing grounds, taking land, historic lands that belong to peoples and that kind of stuff. And so, as I said, the 4 books begins with the Carenage Coast, which is a tribute to our hometown, problems of that space and the beauty of the space that we all came, and felt that if we were going to launch on the adventure of these 4 books, it must begin at home. The book is a tribute to both our fathers, who are both deceased recently, and so it's a tribute to home, and we felt that that's the first place that we had to give the port of call. But the next one after that, on this day, the anniversary of the death of Nipsey, is the streets. It's called Street, and it looks at the streets of Trinidad and Tobago. We go hardcore into the communities, Point Kumana, Bagatelle, Lego Martin, Sea Lots, you name it, we all over. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and the transcendent of the streets. But it also goes to the streets of Houston and the streets of LA, with the Bloods, the Crips, and Nipsey, and that whole movement that was happening there at the time of Water Vision in the 2000s with Dexter. And so we look at the similarities of the streets across the world, and of the black men and boys who populate a lot of it. And so we ask questions, and we provide the acts, and we suggest solutions. The other 2 books, the next book is Hauntingly Beautiful Woman. It's about the woman that Dexter has photographed, has had the privilege to photograph all over the world, from as the most beautiful woman, the Gabrielle Union supermodels, all of that, to Trinidad and Tobago beauty queens and models, to the Trinidad and Tobago beauty queens who are on the streets of Trinidad and Tobago, the normal Trinidad and Tobago women and stuff. And it's a celebration of beauty. That prepares us for the final book, which is about that period of LA, the decade in LA that Dexter spent, and the years that he spent not just transforming Nipsey and those boys, but also being part of the Golden Age movement in Black American culture at the time, in Black Hollywood, Black sports, Black politics, all of those things at ground level. Literally hundreds of the movers and shakers that we now know in Black America. Dexter was there photographing, doing video work, and all of those things for those people at that time, building their portfolios and giving them direction in terms of media and those things. So those 4 books over the next 6 months are going to be released, and this book, Carenage Coast, is available from today online at blurb.com and other sites, and it will be available in about 3 weeks' time as a collectible item. For 100 books are going to be released, signed, and those things for $1,000 each, right? Limited edition, 100 books. All of the books are going to be, they're going to be 100 run, limited edition, first editions of $1,000. These are super collector's items. These are over 300 pages of photography, high-end photography by Dexter. So I'll let him talk a bit.
Well, thanks, Rubadiri. I must say it was a pleasure working with you on this valuable project that I do believe can make a difference in this community that we both raised in. You did mention it was a tribute to both our dads. They both had an avid interest in the people on the ground, fishermen and all of the other groups of people that support those activities. And we think this book goes beyond being a tribute for them and offers an actionable item that can actively raise perpetual wealth, hopefully, for these communities that truly deserve it. You know, Carenage has had its historical relevance in Trinidad's comprehensive history. And in some ways, many would argue that Point Kumana, Carenage, all that is a really, really strong connection to the way things turned out. And so we think it was a privilege and an honor for us. And we simply thank the people that allowed us to to take a peek into that world that we share with them, and to sift out what we choose to describe as undisturbed culture. Culture that represents the landscape speaking for itself. We are from that community, and persons in the book are similarly from that community. So we may take that concept for granted, but we do believe that when the community and landscape are able to pool their talents in a way that allow them to speak for themselves, it may represent a new birth, new ground for creating fertile assets to free these volatile communities. So we're very excited about that. And we're also excited about being able to mention something of that importance and that significance on a day, March 31st, that sadly is also the anniversary of Nipsey Hussle's death. Yes, Ashtagar was like a son to me. I loved him and still do, and all of the other young men that occupied our house and helped to make our movement possible. We are all reaping the benefits of that movement now, but we still feel that the entire blueprint needs to be pulled together so that we can sustain the success that we observed in Los Angeles, but we're still hoping for some way to sustain it and leverage it in all of the communities that oddly enough have the same challenges.
Right, so are there any questions? Does anyone have anything to say?
I have a question.
Sure.
I could ask like this.
Yeah, you're right there. Right there.
My question is, seeing as you guys are ready to move forward, you guys were seeking funding, and to know that funding was a big setback in opening or constructing anything substantial. If you guys had the opportunity to have funding without asking the government for said funding, only asking the government for permission to do this work, would this be possible for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that all of us who work in change know the realities of that, and that work requires resources. Sometimes it is magical, sometimes you're able to do things with the barest minimum of effort and magic happens on the ground. Sometimes all the community puts their hands together and is able to lift a weight far greater than the strength of each of their muscles, and all of the muscles combined. Sometimes magic like that happens. But the fact remains that we live in a world of a real life world of cause and effect, and where money matters, and where resources matter, and where we are right now in the Kwame Ture Cultural Center, right? Run by David Mohammed and Roxanne Mohammed. And by being able to ravel the gift of this space, this has liberated so many things in a community just to have real estate, right? That's how transformative resources is, to have real estate. So to have real estate, warehouse facilities, schools, studios, and those kinds of things. What Dexter did with Nipsey and all of them, he asked them, what is it that you all want? And stuff, and they wrote down a wish list. Well, this keyboard, this drum machine, this whatever. And a couple of days later, when they walked into the room, everything that these working class boys who drop out of school, who on one hand was watching gang life and death, all of a sudden had everything that they dreamed of for the next 6-7 years. You know, they could have played. They had a playground. Plus, they were beating all the Hollywood starlets and everybody who passing through Dexter's space and that kind of stuff. So that's what resources does. It transforms lives. And so yeah, we need the resources, and it should come from wherever it comes from, as long as it is legal and legitimate and has integrity. Yeah, and it doesn't come with strings attached and that kind of stuff that has exploitative things attached to the community and those kinds of things. We'll work with those people.
So a company that is backed by the 2020 sustainable development agenda that have no problem with you guys, right?
Yeah, let's talk. I mean, we're willing to talk with anybody. The great thing is, sitting at this table, and John, you can come and join. Sitting at this table are three sets of interventions and projects that have had success, right? So you have Nipsey Hussle and the intervention of the Butter Vision movement in LA, with the transformation of the lives of all of those black actors, sportsmen, politicians, all that thing that Dexter had transformed, comedians, Williams, all of them and that kind of stuff, as well as Nipsey and the gangs and those kind of stuff. You have the work of John and them with intervening with part of that movement, bringing peace, getting the agricultural movements moving, the music and stuff and that kind of thing. And then there's the work of the Artists Coalition, which we just finished tribute to the King and Queens of Trinidad and Tobago at Wheelflow, where we seize a great house and we bring the people who was on the other side of the hill, their creations, into the great house and stuff, and we have done dozens and dozens of projects and stuff in communities, in schools, and those kinds of things, working with people, transforming lives, giving people resources. So we have a series of examples of people who know how to intervene and have done so in the past, and who are working with movements and others. Give us the resources to be able to intervene today.
Okay, what I'm trying to ask is that I understand that these people have resources, but I also understand you need high volume investors, right? What I'm asking is there anything stopping us or you guys from acquiring permission to build or to create these things? And if there's no obstruction to do so, can you accept a project manager to help you or assist you in developing all your ambitions for the next 5, 10, probably 20 years? Are you willing to?
Of course. I mean, that's what we in it for, to be able to bring partners on board to be able to do the good causes, right? That's it and stuff. I think